James Hatzolos, and this is a continuation from our previous interview about an hour ago. And hopefully those of you that have seen it will get quite a bit out of it. It was a really good interview, really informative, and quite a different perspective. So we're now just in the second part, and what I thought I would do is I'm going to ask James a few questions. So the first thing I want to ask, and this is for especially still a lot of the last video was we were trying to concentrate on basically for newbies, people that were new to real estate, and what they could see or what they could envisage that would come to them over the period of their journey. But what really eventuated out of that was that we're now in a situation where that video changed. We started talking about directors, employment and staff and a whole range of different things. So we sort of got off tangent a bit, but I thought it was really good. Yeah. What I'd like to do is I want to start giving a little bit of information for the people that have not been in the business all that long. So I'm going to ask you a few questions. First one's this. Tell me 3 things that give you the shits about real estate.
Over-promising and then delivering.
Right.
Agents that have zero drive.
Yep.
And basically the lack of goals. I mean, there's no goals. They have no personal goals that drives them. They don't know why they're doing it.
Okay, good. All right. I concur with all those, and that's in line with my thought process.
As an industry, though.
No, well, it doesn't matter, industry or as we can talk about that a bit later.
Yeah.
Tell me 3 things that you love about the business.
I love the, unlimited income.
Yep.
Meaning you're in control of your own destiny.
Yep.
I'm not behind a desk 24/7.
Yeah,
and I love dealing with people.
Okay, good.
Yeah.
All right. I have a mantra that goes like this: money gives you freedom, freedom gives you choice, and choice, not chance, determines your destiny.
Beautiful.
And one of the things that I learned early days is I couldn't believe when I first started working in real estate in 1987 with Barry Planting and Waverley, that you could service a public and be very well remunerated for it.
Yep.
And along the way, we sort of lost our way a bit, right? And I liken it to the doctor. You go to a doctor, he charges you $70, he gives you a suppository, he says go home and do what you got to do with it, and you do it unequivocally and you don't question it.
Yep.
Then we are salespeople that sell one of the most important assets people will ever have. We're remunerated well for it, but we don't demand the respect that comes along with it. And when I say demand the respect, it means that we've got to train ourselves to be better every day. We've got to evolve as salespeople to be sincere, good negotiators, the old list, sell, negotiate type mantra, all that sort of stuff. So I don't think that's as strong as it used to be. Would you agree with that? Yep. So I think the standards dropped off. Would you agree with that?
Yes.
Okay. But there are a few good elitists, real estate agents, like the guys from Fletcher's, Jason Salan, Tim Heavyside. Those guys, work hard, good negotiators, good ethics, run a good business, etc. And there's a lot of them around the industry. But the industry seems to have been encompassed by a lot of people that don't have a good command of the English language, which I find amazing.
Yep.
And it seems to be that people come in and say we'll do it for 1%.
Yeah.
How you make money out of that, it's got me beat.
Yep.
I don't know how that app actually works.
Sure.
Right. So in that, it seems that to get your real estate license now, it's easier. When I got my real estate license, I had to work my ass off. It was not easy.
What do they say? Don't stand as if you're vertical and got a heartbeat, you're in. That's what they say.
Yeah. And now it's easier to get your real estate license. So, and what happens is we're all guilty of denigrating the business that we love.
Yep.
By not applying the standards that we should.
Sure.
You agree with that?
Yep. Okay.
So now they've asked you those first 2 questions. So then if I was a new person starting in the real estate industry today, and you were interviewing me, tell me 3 things that you'd look for. What qualities would you look for in me?
First and foremost, energy. Right. Energy is vital. When people buy your energy,
yep.
That's very important. That vibrancy, what do you give out is what you get back.
Yep.
That's very important. Why real estate? What's motivating you to get into real estate? So that's important. And just your general goals. In other words, what are your short-term and long-term goals? What's driving you?
Let's talk about goals.
Yeah.
Let's do that. Okay. Because that's one of my I'm a fan of goals, right? I'm a fan of core belief and goals, and Dr. Fred, in the 24 years I've had him, has been on me about goals, and we see fed regularly, and it's funny because we'll go through and reset our goals every time we catch up.
Yeah.
And goals are meant to be refurbished and rehashed and all that sort of stuff. And sometimes you go, I'm not doing bloody goals again. Yeah. But the reality of it is when you do them and you line them out, you actually see where you're at. 100%. Because when you do good goals, you see whether you're in line with your soul.
Absolutely.
Right? Because that tells you, and how I work out whether I'm in line with my heart or my soul is where my goals are at. So I can, I can write 10 goals out sometimes in 10 seconds. I know I'm in line with my soul because I don't have to think about it.
Correct.
I know where I'm at.
Yeah.
But when it takes me 10 minutes, I know I'm not in line with my soul.
Good point.
Right? Yeah. So I find that's one of those things, and I try and do it with my kids and my friends and all that. And one of the things is that I want to depart as much, and one of the reasons, that I'm doing this channel is to depart all the knowledge that guys like you and I have and others, right, and depart it for free.
Yeah.
Not charge anyone for it, because we were given it for free from our mentors, and the next generation deserve to have it for free. You agree? Right. Okay. Good. So that's one of the reasons we're doing this channel. So you get as much information out of it as you can for free. The second thing is that a lot of real estate trainers, and I'm not berating them, have had no real sales credentials. They haven't been around the traps. Sure. They haven't done the Sunday opens. Yep. They haven't done 10 opens on a weekend. They haven't put the boards out at 7 o'clock in the morning. They haven't gone through all that. They haven't had a vendor come in really upset. Yep. They haven't been through all that sort of stuff. So it's easy to give lessons when you haven't been through the experiences, right? Because a lot of it, and that sincerity thing we spoke about before is important, right? So so the next question beckons, and the next question is this: if you look at starting another business today, and we spoke about having boutique agencies and all that sort of stuff, and less is more and all that. From the day that you start with new salespeople, now that you've told me what you'd look for in salespeople, what would you do the first day you had salespeople in the business? Brand new salespeople, never been in the industry before.
What would I do?
What would you do with them?
I would certainly, I'd teach them first and foremost about my values or value alignment.
Yep.
That's
very important.
100%. And I think you mentioned before about what else I look for in people. Value alignment is another thing too.
Can you cover what you said when you were talking before with John, and you spoke about the high net salesperson and the lower net salesperson? Right. Can you just say that again, just so people can have a listen to that? I thought that was a great comment.
Yeah, I said that when I'm trying to find salespeople to form part of my team, we all tend to meet different types of performers. And the one thing I've learned over 20 odd years is that skill can be taught. Value alignment can't be, or your values can't. Your values form part of your DNA.
Yeah.
So if I met a salesperson who was writing, who comes into your sales interview and says, well, I can write 800 grand in commission or $1 million in commission or whatever it might be, but you just don't have value alignment. Yet you meet a guy or a girl who can write 300 in GCI or 250 in GCI, but you know that you do have total value alignment. I'd rather work with that person there as opposed to the $800,000 writer. Okay. And I think that's a big mistake, I believe, and it's only my view, that a lot of business owners make, is they choose on skill, not value alignment. Skill can be taught.
Yeah. All right. I so agree with that, and I was so glad to hear you say that. Interestingly enough, some of the people that have given me a bit of credit and kudos with my last business have said to me, you had a group of salespeople that were just mediocre. And I go, no, they weren't. Our values were aligned. Yeah. And my job as the owner or the director was to make sure that I enhanced their ability to be able to list, sell and negotiate, right? And do it in the right manner. Yeah. So I went for a group of people and I had very little attrition over that 10 years. That office was the number one office in the group for 7. For 10 years, I had very little attrition because the values were all aligned. Right. And we had age groups from like early 20s up to 70, but the values were all aligned. So I so concur with that thought process. Yeah.
I was the one guy that I was consulting not too long ago, and I asked him what was wrong, and he said to me, James, my culture's up the creek. And I said, well, give me an example of what you mean. And I could see within a matter of minutes that there was no value alignment. Yeah. And I said to him, I asked him a point blank question. I said, would you ever stay in a relationship if you didn't have respect, trust, transparency? If your values weren't aligned with your partner in that relationship, no matter, even if you lived a high life, would you stay there? I said, no.
Some people might though.
They may, but they'll be very upset, hurt, disappointed,
They won't be happy.
bitter. They won't be happy.
Yeah.
So what do you want? Do you value money over personal happiness? I mean, all I'm saying to you, I'm not saying the money isn't important. Of course it is. In business, it is important.
It's just part of the wheel, though.
It is, absolutely.
Yeah.
But I think you can, if all you focus on is the money and you don't focus on the culture, what you then tend to have is a whole host of subcultures going on, which you're going to fail by default anyway.
Yes.
It's only a matter of time before it implodes.
Yeah.
I said, buddy, wake up. It's going to happen. You're heading for a brick wall.
Well, there's a whole lot of other things that come with that, because what happens is that you get shadow coming in.
Yeah.
And what happens is the dark side comes in.
Yeah.
And then you might make a little bit of money and you get off the rails and you start doing bad things and all that sort of stuff. And that's generally, those things come in when you aren't happy. Because I think one of the things that I find about being happy, and Dr. Fred talks about a 10 out of 10 experience every day.
Yeah.
And it can be just having a great cup of coffee.
Yeah.
That can just be that 10 minutes of solitude, and you go, that's quality made. It really makes me feel good. I love it, etc. Or it can be having a conversation like this where you get a 10 out of 10 buzz out of it.
Yeah.
Right. And what I find is the people that do really, really well, aside from loving their job, and I have another mantra that I want to see where I want to evolve to. So what I want to do next is I need to learn to love what I'm going to do next. And I know that sounds a little bit back to front. So therefore, if I'm going to before I started doing a lot of training, right, not just life training, but real estate training, etc., I made sure I sort of reinvigorated myself. I had a look at a lot of my old training notes, got on the internet, did a little bit of that, and I thought, okay, I think I'm good enough to be able to go out and service some people.
Yep.
Right? So having said that, one of the things is I always like to test and measure where I'm at, because I can't manage myself if I don't. Right? So in the new people that are watching this now that are in the real estate industry, the first thing is you need to, what I've learned so far today, we need to get a mentor.
Yeah.
We need to get someone that we respect, that we can listen to. They won't always be right.
100%.
And they're fallible like all of us are. Right? The second thing is you may need more than one mentor.
Yep.
Right, for different things.
Yep.
You know, I had a couple of business mentors, but I also had a couple of spiritual mentors.
Yeah.
Right, I had an Indonesian pastor, early days in real estate, and Iskander his name was, and he used to very much look after me on a spiritual sense.
Yeah.
He was always interested in how my heart was.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
And at the start I used to think it was physical. He wanted to know physically how my heart was. I think, I hope I'm okay. But he was talking about my spirit.
Yeah.
Right? So I got to know that over the period of time, and then I understood a very different way of looking after myself, making sure that my spiritual vial was always fairly full.
Yeah.
Right?
Yep.
So, and the other things that we get out of that is that you need to be service orientated, but you need to make sure, and this is a really important point which we haven't covered yet, that if you're going for a job in real estate, you need to make sure that you go to a company that has value alignment.
Totally.
And that's a great comment. I love that. Because that value alignment then will come in with delivery expectation and a whole range of other things that make our industry the great industry that it is. And that's the difference, no different to golf. You know, I don't know a lot about that game, but when you watch it, I've been watching it lately, and the difference between the winner and the guy that comes second or third can be one stroke.
Yeah.
And that's the difference between good and great.
Yeah. Absolutely.
You know,
Absolutely.
So that and even like guys like you and I now, we're still training. Although we train people, we're still training ourselves.
Totally.
Yeah.
Totally.
Like
you never stop training yourself.
Yeah, I'm reading things, I'm working on things,
Yeah.
I'm trying to learn, you know, John's teaching me more about media, all that sort of stuff. So
Yeah.
I'm going through that. So what I've done is I put myself out of my comfort zone.
Yeah.
And said, right, what's my next venture? Where am I going to go?
Yeah. Like I tell you, when I sold out, I wasn't very social media savvy, you know, because I was too busy running my business. But being 12 months out has taught me a lot about social media and the importance of that. And I was staggered with the statistics around social media. I mean, I knew it was big, but when I started to see the stats, I thought, wow, this is huge. But you're right. I mean, educating yourself, constantly learning, listening to webinars, podcasts, you know, catching up with people who are far more skilled than you, surrounding yourself with great people who can also lift you to another level again. I believe you do become the average of the 5 people you hang out with.
Yeah, I believe that
it's
too.
so true.
Yeah. Because what you're talking about now, you're talking about networking.
Yeah.
Which I'm a huge fan of,
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
I always say, people go, oh, your business did great. And I go, yes, it did great because networking went up, prospecting went down.
Yeah.
Because to physically prospect's a pain in the ass.
Yeah.
It's laborious, and people, I don't know about you, but we get accosted of a night time on the phone with someone that can't speak English, B, a real estate agent looking for a market appraisal opportunity, or someone door knocking for some donation for whatever, right? Now, so on that score, that is very annoying. So the networking side of the business is extremely important. And there again, like what you said before about value alignment, the other thing too, if I had someone who was socially skilled but had no sales experience, I'd still probably employ them.
Yeah, 100%.
Because that social network scenario, because if you're good at your art or you're becoming good at your art, your friends will want to deal with you.
Yep. Absolutely.
And how good is it to deal with people that you love?
Yeah.
It makes it so much easier. You agree?
Yes, I do agree. I had a very simple analogy. I said to Barry, don't give me a pony expecting me to turn it into a thoroughbred racehorse. It's not going to happen.
Yeah.
It can go into the stalls, the gates will open, the little pony will run out, it'll stop, it'll look around. It's not bred to run.
Yeah.
So I look for people who, again, shared the same energy, value alignment, had a genuine passion of life. They were just naturally driven. Yeah. And you can feel that energy. I mean, even sitting here in front of you, and I've said this to you before, that you feel that energy. Yeah. Whereas if I sat here in front of you and this camera and said, "Yeah, look, I'm excited to be here," all of a sudden, you know, it's not true.
Yeah.
So, and as I said before, you can't fake that authenticity.
Yeah, that's
just
right.
Just be who you are naturally, and people will gravitate towards that.
Yeah.
You know, so that's what I look for.
Yeah, good. Okay. All right. Because in ending this session, then one of the things I love the two words: be jubilant. Right, so if you're going to do something, be jubilant.
Yep.
And the networking part of our business is going to go stronger now. And what I'm finding is that the public are getting smart. They know about prices.
Yep.
They know when they're being shysted. Some of them let themselves be shysted by an agent, you know, when they're given too high a figure.
Yeah.
But most people want to be serviced properly. And getting back to the doctor scenario that I used before, if people believe you're the expert, they will deal with you, no matter what you tell them about price. And many times, I know you've done this too, many times you've listed a house and not discussed price.
Yeah, many times.
It's because they believe that you're going to get the best result.
Yeah.
And that's the lesson today, folks. So thanks very much for watching. We'll talk soon.